Hi there, my name is Lars Sunsen. We're over here at the Computing Conference 2019 in London, and we're treating you to these small video stories that give a hint of the papers and case studies that we have lined up during this conference. We're going to talk to Miss Lisa Spence, Naval Postgraduate School from the United States. You were in the US Army, and you find a beautiful combination of your background and what you can actually do for the forces. The title of the paper was An Integrated Approach for Educating the Marine Forces Reserve Inspector Instructor Cadre.
Cadre.
Let's get that. Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit what got you started or inspired to do this study?
Yeah, absolutely. So Marine Forces Reserve is the reserve component of the United States Marine Corps, and they had the challenge of their training program for their trainers or their cadre, who are called instructors inspectors, taking about 18 months to settle into their jobs, and then they would rotate out at 36 months. So they came to the Naval Postgraduate School and they asked for help in revamping their training and education programs, so that way we could shorten that timeline and make them more effective leaders.
Okay. And what were the main complaints then? That just it takes too long, or it's just not effective learning, which leads to that it's taking too long?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So most of their learning was passive learning, meaning that the learners or the Marines would sit there and be told what to do, but they didn't really get an opportunity to apply that learning, to interact with their peers, or to think abstractly about ways to apply that situation to their own commands.
A very traditional learning situation.
Exactly. So what we did is we basically took their entire system, and using a systems engineering approach, we decomposed it down to its basic components to figure out what their real need was. And we asked questions such as, what do the Marines already know? What do you want them to do with this learning once they obtain it? How will they apply it? How will we know that they're successful in applying it? And then we rebuilt the system using an integrated approach between systems engineering and instructional design to create a blended learning environment that combined online learning environments, scenario-based practical application, as well as formal lectures. We still retain those because the command was very interested in having an opportunity to speak with the Marines eye to eye, if you will.
Obviously. But the blended learning concept, we're seeing those in all kind of branches and sectors. And then what I hear back, that it really depends on the population, so the background of those people, how they respond. Then I'm just curious that because the traditional learning method that we just described, for me, really fits in with the image I have of the Army. It's an instruction, and you have to take it in, and then you start doing it. So I'm so curious on the response of those inspector instructors to this experience.
Absolutely. So I think probably globally, our armed forces are used to being instructed what to do and to absorb it and to go and do it, and not think very much about it. But when you actually get into it, especially our leaders, our officers and our senior NCOs, they're required to work in a lot of abstract situations and apply a whole lifetime of learning in order to be successful in that situation. Not only their learning, but their experience. And so giving them an opportunity to interact freely with the material, to shape it and to scope it to their unique experiences and their needs, came across really, really strongly. The response was astounding in that not only did they complete the mandatory training with minimal belly aching, but they also then turned to people that weren't required to go through it and started to recommend it and mandate it for some of their subordinates. So we saw a real peer-to-peer sharing network start to happen.
Okay.
And they also engaged with the content and gave us a lot of detailed feedback on how we could make it deeper or more applicable to their situations, or more relevant as the operational landscape has changed.
Well, I don't want to get out of track too much, but this sounds like a big innovation in how instruction and knowledge referral is done within the reserve forces. Is this something that's scalable to the rest of the U.S. Army?
Yeah, absolutely. Beyond the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps, it's really applicable to any situation in which we want to transfer knowledge from one individual to one or many more. Everything that we did rests in fundamental theory. There was nothing groundbreaking we did. What was unique about this is that we had that integrated approach, systems engineer, instructional design, as well as visual designers, user experience engineers, videographers, and subject matter experts working together. And then we had the leadership bought into it, and then the learners bought into it. So we were really able to develop this holistic system. And people were willing to invest the time and the energy to do things, quote unquote, the right way. And I think that that's the gap that we're missing in most traditional learning environments, is the amount of effort that it takes to implement something like this, as well as the incentive basis to do it.
And then I guess if you have like a proof of concept and you can show the results, it gets way more easier to get people on board and to implement this.
Absolutely, and we see it in industry all of the time, right? Typically, the Department of Defense as well as academia, we fall well behind in industry in our innovations, and we're always kind of rushing to catch up. But if you think of applications you already have on your phone, Google Maps, Babbel, Facebook, they're all very immersive, they're all very personalized, they're all very targeted to your specific needs. It's almost like it reads your mind and knows what you want before you do. And it's because they've got the resources and the time and the experts to innovate and to make that happen. We don't have that in the public sector as much. So this is us racing to catch up with what industry already does very, very well.
It sounds like you're doing a very good job in racing up. You presented and the reactions were nice.
I got a few very lovely questions,
Yeah,
yes.
well, that's good to hear, because we have an academic a public here that might be approaching your case study from a total different direction, right?
Yeah.
Is that your experience in our conferences, also? The interaction with the other?
There have been a lot of really, really deep thinkers. And it's been a fascinating conference in that I've gotten to learn a lot about a few areas of information in which I had no knowledge. So only a handful of us are looking at broader systems, I think, here, but there's a lot of contributions here that really contribute deeply to very specific areas of research, and that's been absolutely fascinating to listen to.
I'm so glad to hear that, and thank you for being with us and indulging us in taking just a couple of minutes to explain some bits about your paper. Obviously, if people are inspired, and I hope that you are, you can check out the entire paper. Our partner Springer published them and made the proceedings available online. And if you like this video, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Share the knowledge around in your network. If you want more, subscribe to our channel and consider joining us for one of our conferences. You can check out for dates and locations on our website. Thank you for watching, and maybe we'll meet you there.